Okay, today I'm going to make a teapot for left-hander on the side-handled teapot. You hold it from the side up of the teapot. So for the teapot, I usually make the body first. For the teapot, the opening, I usually make it slightly smaller. Right, measure the width of the body for fitting the lid. For the lid, I usually center the clay into a doorknob. The shape looks like a doorknob, okay? Not donut, doorknob. Because I am going to trim the lid upside down. When I'm trimming, I will put it upside down and trim the knob. So I don't need to have so much clay here on the base. So I will squeeze it into a doorknob shape. And make sure that you got enough height for you to trim the knob. And then open up, making a shallow bowl. Push and slightly lift the rim thicker. Leave this part a bit thicker because you are going to push the gallery. Before I start to push the gallery, I will make sure that width is fitting. So now you can see that slightly too wide. So I will try to push the clay in, squeeze it in. So for pushing the gallery, I usually have my fingers pinch in here, just slightly pinch, and then use my right index finger there to kind of make an indentation to give yourself a guide where you are going to push. Right, so that is about the right size. And for doing the gallery, this corner is very important. You want to have very sharp corner. Okay. Usually, if you bought the wooden rib from the basic kit, they usually make it this part here slightly too round. So you need to use a sandpaper to sand it down. Make sure you have a very nice 90 degrees. And this is my number one wooden rib. That they all come with very nice sharp 90 degrees. Number one wooden rib. Okay, looks good. If you think that this part here is hanging out too much, you can always trim it. Just get a knife and chop it off. Okay, and I'm going to use a wooden knife to remove the excessive clay off. The key for using this knife is that try to brace your wrist here, right by the splash pan, and just hold the knife steady and then go push down. And once you push it down, you're gonna keep on going, so you slightly go up and then push down straight instead of going the angle all the way. Okay, this is what I meant. Slightly cut it at an angle, and then this knife, the tip of the knife, you just go and push down straight. Instead, if you keep on going, the base is going to be too small. So that is how I use the wooden knife. So that this part here is smaller, you will save you some time to trim the knot. And since I have a bed system, so I'm just leaving all my parts, throwing parts right on the bed. And if you don't have the bed, you don't throw it on the bed, you can just throw it up the hump. Okay, there's another technique to throw up the hump. You can watch my previous video on how to do that. But now I have a very nice bed system, so I'm just throwing it right on my bed. Right here, right. And if you want to do even save more space, okay, this bed system is space saver. It can save you space. I even have a smaller one. Just have the adapter. Put the adapter here, and this is a much smaller one. There. Okay. So when you throw in the teapot, you can just throw it right here. The lid or the spout, you throw right on here. It's taking you much less space. Or you can just throw it up the hump. But I'm just introducing my smaller bed insert. So this amount of clay is for the spout. For the spout, you can open up all the way until you touch the bed. Okay, for the technique for throwing little things is that you can speed up your wheel when the diameter is smaller. Speed up. And once you color, to make it smaller, that wall is becoming thicker. So you might want to thin it down. Just get a stick, a wooden stick, to go inside and then compress it. So that technique is, I'm right-hander, so I'm holding my stick on the right hand, and then use my left thumb to push that clay wall against the stick and then thin it down. In the meantime, this finger is holding there to support it. Okay, from the camera you can see it. Okay, it's harder to see from the front camera, but the top camera you will be able to see it. My thumb is pushing that against it. and this hand stabilizes it. And make sure it is slippery. Slightly speed up the wheel. And make sure you compare when you throw your parts, compare the size of it. You don't want to make it too big or too small. So always check the body of your teapot and to design or to make your spout. Okay, I think it's thin enough, so now I want to finalize the shape. And use the chamois to smooth out the surface. Okay, so it's personal preference. Your spout could be a long one or short one. I usually make it a little bit longer, and if I want it when I'm assembled, if I want it shorter, I can always trim, remove the excessive part. So make it a little slightly longer. And for the spout, I will do a little bit of a treatment to dry the surface a little bit, and then I would like to form it into slightly curved. And I will tell you why I do that. Okay, I usually heat it up more here on the base and leave this part slightly soft because I'm going to bend it. And if I dry it too much, when I bend it, I might have a crack. But here I'm not bending it, so I kind of dried it more here. Okay, so I now cut it off from the wheel head, and I want to slightly bend it. Okay, make it into a curve, because when you pour, if your spout has a little curve, it's helping the water or the tea or whatever inside the liquid will stop there, and then without drip it back. If you leave this part here too straight, the liquid is going to fall down here much easier than you have a curve. That's why you want to try to bend a curve. So I am slightly forming into a curve. And also here, when I'm throwing, I didn't cut the rim because I actually prefer the higher point, and then you bend it, so on the lower part will be the higher point. Okay, this part here is the highest point, and then when I bend it, I'm bending into this direction. And you can see that from that angle, from top angle, you see that I am forming a slight curve there. Okay, after that, this part here from the top angle, you can see that this is not straight. See that I have a little dent there, which is not going to look good after you assemble it. So what I usually do is put one of my finger there inside to kind of bump it up, slightly bump it up there, so that part is looking better. Okay, on here, if you feel the clay is slightly thicker, you can actually pinch a little bit too. Before the clay dry, you can do pretty much everything to it. On the part here, I don't need it, so I could cut a slight angle, because later on I'm going to trim the clay off also, so might as well just cut it out to reserve more wet clay, to save more wet clay. Okay, so that is how I prepare my spout. Now I can put it aside and then wait till it dry to assemble it. You can also open up all the way till you touch the bed. So I keep on pulling it up, make sure it's thin enough. I would make this part slightly smaller, but now it's too soft to do that. If I keep on doing it, I would mess up because the base is not wide enough to hold all the pressure. So I will just leave it here, and then once it's dry further, I will use the trim method to trim more clay off this part here. So that's the beauty of having this smaller bed insert. So it doesn't take a lot of room when you're making even smaller pieces. And if you want to trim it, you can put it back on here and then trim. So that is the parts for the teapot, side-handled teapot. And I will trim and assemble it later in my later video. Okay, thanks for watching and see you next time.